What if everything we think we know about Earth is wrong? What if our planet isn't a solid sphere filled with molten rock, but instead it's hollow? And inside it lies an entirely different world, a hidden realm of advanced civilizations, ancient tech, and maybe even the origins of the UFOs themselves. For centuries, explorers, scientists, conspiracy theorists alike have speculated that the Earth is not what it seems. From strange expeditions to mysterious government cover-ups, the Hollow Earth theory has remained one of the most fascinating and mildly unsettling ideas in fringe science. Today, we're deep diving into 3 key parts of this theory. Everything I do is by threes. First, the belief in secret underground civilizations. Second, Admiral Byrd's mysterious Arctic expedition and what he supposedly found. And for the record, this does tie into the ice wall theory a little bit, just a little bit, that we talked about a couple weeks back. So if you guys want to see the videos on my channel. And third, how all of this ties into UFOs, some Nazi legends, and some strange connections that just don't die. So before we get into the first part of this video, drop a like and subscribe. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. I appreciate you guys all so much. Since reviving this channel, it's been such a blast talking about conspiracy theories with you guys and then helping out a little bit with life, at least from where my unk status could get me at 28 years old, a little bit what I could impart some wisdom on some young men. So let's get into the video. First part, the belief in these secret civilizations that are underground. The Hollow Earth theory isn't new. It goes back a couple centuries, long before we had the internet, before we had satellites, and before anybody could actually see the Earth from space. Again, this kind of ties into the flat Earth thing. In fact, some of the earliest versions of this idea came from ancient mythologies. The Greeks spoke of Hades. For the record, just as a slight off topic, I will be diving into a long series about religion, mythologies. I'm working on writing the first script for the religion one. So after that, will become mythology and so on and so forth. But the Greeks spoke of Hades, a vast world beneath the surface where souls lived after they died. The Norse believed in a word I cannot pronounce, but I'll put it on screen. A subterranean land inhabited by dark elves and powerful craftsmen. Even in Buddhist traditions, there's the legendary city of Agartha, a hidden paradise said to exist inside the earth, accessible only through secret tunnels at the poles. But when did this myth go from myth to science? Well, that happened around the 17th century. A man named Edmund Halley, who's the same guy famous for Halley's Comet, proposed in 1692 that the earth might actually be hollow. Halley believed that the planet was made of several concentric shells, like in layers of onion, each with its own atmosphere and possibly even its own life. His reasoning, strange compass readings that couldn't be explained by normal magnetism. Centuries later, in the 1800s, the idea gained new life through John Sims, Jr., a U.S. Army officer who became obsessed with proving the Earth was hollow. He claimed that at both the North and the South Poles, there were massive openings, gateways, if you will, into an inner world. He even petitioned Congress to fund an expedition to find these entrances, and though it never officially happened, his ideas inspired generations of people, explorers and believers. So what's inside this inner Earth? According to believers, a vast landscape of forests, rivers, and even an entire civilization. Some claimed the inner world was illuminated by a small central sun, an inner core that radiated light and warmth, allowing life to flourish. Writers like Jules Verne tapped into the idea in Journey to the Center of the Earth, mixing adventure with speculative science, but others took it, quite literally. Throughout the early 20th centuries, rumors spread of ancient enlightened beings living in vast underground cities. The most famous, again, Agartha and Shambhala, which I'll put that on screen. Again, not sure if I pronounced it right. These weren't monsters or primitive creatures. They were described as technologically advanced societies that had retreated underground thousands of years ago to escape the cataclysms on the surface. To believers, these inner earth beings could explain countless mysteries, lost civilizations like Atlantis, unexplained disappearances, and even modern UFO sightings. The theory suggests that these beings might occasionally surface, their flying craft mistaken for alien visitors. And as wild as that sounds, this idea actually connects to the story of Admiral Byrd, a man who allegedly discovery has become the centerpiece of the Hollow Earth lore. So now we dive into part number 2 here. Admiral Byrd was not a conspiracy theorist. Let's start there. He was one of the most respected explorers in American history, a decorated Navy officer, pioneering aviator, and a national hero. He led multiple expeditions to the North and South Poles during the early 20th century and helped map vast unexplored regions of this planet. But after his 1947 Antarctic expedition, something strange happened. Rumors began spreading that Byrd had discovered something extraordinary, something he was told to never speak about publicly. The story goes like this. During an expedition flight over the North Pole, Byrd's plane allegedly entered an area where instruments went haywire. The compass spun wildly, and the landscapes below was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Lush green valleys, flowing rivers, and even signs of life. Then, according to accounts supposedly based on his lost diary, Byrd described being contacted by a highly advanced civilization living inside of Earth. These beings, described as tall, peaceful, and intelligent, allegedly told him that the humanity was headed down a dangerous path with nuclear weapons and environmental destruction. They wanted to warn the surface world before it was too late, but when Byrd returned to the U.S., the stories claims that he was silenced. His expedition records were allegedly classified, and he was ordered not to discuss what he had seen. In one supposed interview years later, Byrd was quoted as saying, "The greatest discovery in the history of mankind is right here on the planet, inside our Earth." Now, skeptics point out that there's no official record of this secret diary. The claims about a hidden civilization and lush land beyond the poles mostly appeared in fringe publications decades later. But the timing, now that's quite interesting. Byrd's expeditions happened right around the rise of the Cold War. Governments were suddenly very interested in Antarctica, not just for exploration, but for potential military use. Operation High Jump, which was a massive U.S. Navy mission in 1946 to 47, led by Byrd, involved thousands of men, ships, and aircrafts. Officially, it was to establish research bases, but conspiracy theorists believe otherwise. They claim that the mission's true goal was to locate a hidden Nazi base in Antarctica, a remnant of Germany's supposed secret research into advanced technology during the Second World War. According to these theories, Byrd's fleet encountered something unexpected, possibly hostile, and was forced to retreat after losing their aircraft. While no credible evidence supports these claims, the idea stuck. In the years that followed, stories merged. Byrd's alleged encounter with Inner Earth civilization and Nazi base rumors became part of a single, sweeping narrative that somewhere beneath Antarctica lies the entrance to a hidden world. And that is where Hollow Earth theory takes quite a darker turn. Part number 3 is how Hollow Earth links to UFOs and Nazis. To understand how this idea evolved into one of the most elaborate conspiracy webs in modern times, we have to look at what happened during and after the Second World War. At the end of the war, rumors spread that high-ranking Nazis had escaped to the South Pole. Some believed they had established secret bases in remote areas of Antarctica, continuing their experiments in advanced aircraft and even contact with some otherworldly forces. The most sensational version claimed that Nazis had discovered an entrance to the Inner Earth and had formed an alliance with the beings who lived down there. These Inner Earth inhabitants, described as possessing incredibly advanced technology, allegedly helped the Nazis develop flying saucers and other futuristic weapons. After the war, when UFO sightings began exploding in the late 40s and 50s, some conspiracy theorists argued that these weren't extraterrestrial ships at all, but intraterrestrial ones, crafts emerging not from outer space but within Earth itself. The idea tied everything together. The mysterious lights in the sky, the unexplainable flying objects, and the report of military cover-ups. Maybe, they said, the UFOs weren't aliens, they were Earth's original inhabitants resurfacing from the hollow world below. The connection between Nazis and UFOs became particularly popular in post-war occult literature. Writers claimed that the Nazi SS, under the guidance of the VRIL Society, another word that I can't pronounce, I can write all these words, I can't pronounce any of them, an alleged secret order interested in ancient knowledge and psychic energy, had sought to contact beings from Agartha, the Inner Earth Kingdom. They supposedly believed that by mastering this energy, humanity could transcend physical limits and achieve godlike power. Of course, there's no evidence that this actually happened. But the myth has persisted for decades, feeding into modern stories about secret Antarctic bases, UFO crashes, and shadowy government programs. Even today, online communities and alternative researchers speculate that Antarctica is far more than a frozen wasteland. They point to restricted zones, unexplainable anomalies, and military secrecy as proof that something is being hidden beneath the ice. Some believe this is where ancient knowledge, alien technology, or even the entrance to the hollow earth itself remains sealed away, protected, concealed, and simply denied by who's ever in charge of this world. Now, Where's Hollow Earth theory today? Well, it's easy to dismiss all of this as pure fantasy. Books, movies, pictures, whatever. After all, modern science paints a very different picture of Earth's interior. A molten core, which would link to the sun, by the way, if we're going to tie two things together from these theories. Vast layers of rock and crushing pressures that no civilization could survive. But the power of Hollow Earth theory isn't in its physical evidence, it's what it represents. It speaks to something deeply human, and that is our fascination with the unknown. Every time we think we've mapped the entire world, new mysteries emerge. Deep caves, unexplored oceans, ancient structures that seem to defy the explanation that they're there, and the idea that something incredible could still be hiding beneath our feet. And that's irresistible. It's why we love horror movies. It's why we love space movies. It's why we dig into everything that we don't know. Some modern versions of this theory suggest that the hollow earth isn't literally hollow, but symbolically so. That it represents hidden dimensions, parallel realities, or even the collective unconscious. Others blend it with modern UFO theories, suggesting that inner Earth might mean a base in another layer of existence, a higher frequency, or pocket of reality beyond normal perception. Even NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey have unintentionally fueled this speculation. Whenever satellite images show unexplained blacked out regions near the poles, believers rush to claim it's proof of these hidden entrances. Whenever a mysterious object is seen diving into an ocean or emerging from it, an unidentified submersible object, the Hollow Earth theory finds new life online. And then there's the cultural impact, from Hollywood movies like Godzilla vs. Kong, which literally shows an inner world, to video games, novels, and even religious movements. The idea refuses to fade. I actually just watched The Meg again the other day. If you guys don't know, there's some kind of gas layer that separates the top ocean to the lower ocean. That kind of feeds into the theory as well. That's where the megalodon in the movie. Sorry to ruin it for everybody. But this has been woven into every generation's imagination, transforming from scientific speculation to myth to conspiracy, and finally to what we have now is this modern legend. Now, why does this still survive? So why do we still believe in it? Why do we as people still believe in the Hollow Earth theory? Part of it is distrust in the institutions, governments, and mainstream science, which I'm on that tinfoil hat life. When you're told that certain places are off limits, certain topics are classified, or certain mysteries are already solved, the human mind starts to wander. If the official story seems too neat, too simple, conspiracy theorists rush to fill in the gaps. The Hollow Earth idea also taps into something older than science. That's our need for wonder. We've already explored space, mapped the oceans, and flown to the moon, but the idea that there's still an undiscovered world inside of our own, now that's kind of thrilling. And we haven't been to everything in space. We don't know a whole lot about the ocean, but on a surface level, we know everything that we think we should know. So now we're trying to find other shit. All this stuff, the Hollow Earth, it's a portal to another realm hidden in plain sight. For some people, it's a story of hope. A belief that somewhere beneath all of this stuff in the surface world, there exists a society untouched by war, greed, or pollution. If we got there, we'd ruin it. An advanced civilization waiting for the right moment to return and guide us forward. That's the heart of the legend of Agartha and Shambhala. Not a doomsday theory, but a vision of enlightenment buried beneath our own ignorance. When you connect all the pieces, the ancient myths like explorers like Byrd, the Nazi rumors, and the UFO sightings, you get a strange tapestry that blurs the line between history and imagination. Is there any truth in any of it? Who knows? Maybe not in a literal sense. The Earth almost certainly isn't hollow, but the recurring themes, hidden knowledge, secret realms, higher beings, reveal something about us. They show our hunger for meaning in a world that often feels mechanical and empty. And that might be the real secret of Hollow Earth. It's less about what's beneath our feet and more about what's missing from our understanding of ourselves. Even if the story isn't true or is true, it feels true in the way the myths often do. It speaks to a part of us that refuses to believe that the world is fully known, that there must be something more, just out of reach. So maybe Admiral Byrd didn't find a hidden civilization. Maybe he did. Maybe there's no glowing cities beneath Antarctica, no ancient beings controlling UFOs from underground temples, or maybe there is. Maybe, just maybe, Hollow Earth theory reminds us of something important, that mystery still matters. Because as long as there's questions we can't answer, legends like this will live on. Myths, theories, and whether you see it as a symbol, a spiritual idea, or an actual hidden world, the Hollow Earth remains one of the most haunting and imaginative conspiracies ever told. So what do you think? Was Admiral Byrd silenced after discovering a secret civilization? Could UFOs and ancient myths point to something deeper beneath our world? Or is this just an elaborate legend that refuses to die? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.